So today, on the day that I'm recording this video, it's my birthday. That's why we have the party lights, the balloons and everything going on. It is actually my 30th birthday today. I know most people wouldn't have guessed it with this baby face, but yeah, I'm turning 30 today. I used to think that that meant that my life was over. Back in my early 20s, I thought that I had to achieve all of my goals by the time I was 30. But I'm actually really excited to go into my 30s and to finally leave my 20s behind. So to celebrate the occasion, I wanted to do a more personal video and share with you 20 things that I learned during my 20s working in a creative industry. Actually, I want to go back before I even got into my 20s. When I was in high school, I never thought I was going to go into a creative field. Actually, I was good at math and physics and other sciences, so I thought I was either going to go into like business or engineering or something like that. When I graduated high school, I really didn't know what I wanted to do, so I went and tried different things, and I kind of realized that it didn't matter what I did, I always wanted to create videos about it. I actually enjoyed taking pictures and making videos since I was really young, but I never really thought about it as a career path. Nobody in my family is an artist, and I had never seen anyone close to me pursue something like that. I was actually born and raised in Ecuador, which is a small country in South America, and the film industry is not really that big there. So I knew that if I wanted to make a living out of making videos, it needed to be more videography and commercial work. So that's exactly what I did in my early 20s. I used to film and edit social media videos for small brands, and I also tried to go to university to study something related to communications. I tried 2 different majors back in Ecuador, but none of them were really fulfilling me. And that's when I realized that maybe I wanted to study abroad. So I applied to a couple of universities and I got accepted into a film school here in Canada. So I actually started university here when I was 24, 25 years old. A bit late comparing to the rest of the people in my class. And then I spent the second half of my 20s finishing school, surviving the pandemic, worrying about the immigration process, and trying to make it in the film industry. So as you can see, it's taken a little while. I think a lot of people get to this point when they are like 24, 25. But I wouldn't change it for the world. I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else that wouldn't be related to video or filmmaking. So these 20 things I've learned are very particular to me and my life experiences. I'm not gonna talk too much about technical details on like business and how to get ahead into the film industry, but more about the mental and emotional battles that can be to be in a creative industry. You can also take my opinion with a grain of salt, because I'm not successful, but I am lucky enough to be able to work in the process of creating videos and films, and I'm able to afford to have a decent life at least. So for me, that's already a win because I know the young me didn't even think that was possible. So without further ado, these are the 20 lessons I learned in my 20s. The first thing is don't compare yourself to others. I spent so much time during my 20s comparing myself to other people that was more successful than I was. But as time has gone on, I've realized that sometimes this is just a facade. I've met people who look so successful professionally on social media, and then when I've met some of these people in person, they're either burnt out or not fulfilled at all with what they're doing, or even them, they're comparing themselves with even bigger people. So that made me realize that there was really no need to compare myself to them, and that comparing is really useless because every single life is different. Everybody has unique opportunities and experiences and things that lead them into doing what they do. Which leads me into my second lesson. The things you sometimes hate to do are really beneficial for your development. I remember when I was first starting out, I was doing these short social media clips of just people talking, and I needed to add subtitles and try to make it interesting, and I hated that. I hated doing that so much that I doubted every single day if I should just quit and do something else. But later on in my career, when I had the opportunity to edit a very interesting documentary, I realized that all the skills that I built cutting those boring talking heads transferred into this documentary project. So yeah, sometimes experiences that we don't value in the moment become very valuable later on looking back. And then it takes me into my third lesson, which I think is going to be very important from now on, because I realize that a lot of things in life is about finding balance between 2 very opposite things. You know how in lesson number 2 I said, oh, sometimes the things you hate are beneficial to you? Well, lesson number 4 is kind of the opposite of that, which is that it's important to quit things that you know are not meant for you. I spent so much time trying to push myself into certain categories, trying to make myself fit what everybody else was doing, and I knew it didn't feel right for me. Certain types of videos or projects that I was doing were not fulfilling me, and I kept doing them for way too long. But like I said in lesson number 3, it is about finding a balance, because if you quit every single thing you don't like and you find boring, you might end up not learning enough and then not having the right skills when a better opportunity presents itself. But it is important to quit things and say no in order to pursue the things that you want to pursue. This leads me into lesson number 5, which is, at least in my experience, things tend to come at the right time. For example, this YouTube channel. I tried way earlier during my 20s to start a YouTube channel, but it just didn't feel right. I filmed stuff and I never liked it. I could never edit it properly. I was never happy with it. But now that I've gained all of this experience during these past years, it feels a lot easier. So I think that sometimes it's just good to accept that maybe it's not the right time for you to do it. And it takes different learnings for every one of us to get to the same points. You might see everybody else doing something that you should do, but sometimes it's just not the right time for you. Once something feels right, it's probably the right time. Which leads me into the 6th lesson. Don't dwell on things too much. Opportunities will pass, you might make mistakes, and it's okay. I know this is easier said than done. I still dwell on certain stuff, but I think the sooner you stop dwelling on it, the faster you can move on and maybe find other opportunities. Again, I do believe that every single one of us have different lessons to learn. So if an opportunity passed on you, maybe it was for you to learn a certain lesson. This doesn't apply to everything, of course. There's definitely bad luck and injustice out in the world. So I don't mean this as like oh, don't feel bad, everything happens for a reason thing. It's more like if you messed up, own to it, learn your lesson, and keep moving so that you can do better in the future. But it's also good to balance this point with my lesson number 7, which is that you will have regrets. When I was in my early 20s, I used to believe like, oh, I'm gonna live my life and have no regrets. I'll make all the decisions that I want so that when I look back, I won't have any regrets. But even doing that, now looking back, I have certain regrets, and I think it's okay. I feel like these regrets are normal, and it just means that you're growing as a person and you're learning things along the way. So it is okay to look back and have certain regrets. Life won't be perfect and we will make mistakes. So it's okay to learn from them and keep going, as I said before. And then I'm going into lesson number 8, which is that good things take time. I remember older people telling me this and I didn't believe them, but it is true. Developing skills, developing connections, developing friendships, everything takes time. Things like finding the right path and the right direction for me. Things like being more confident in my work. And more technical things like learning how to light better, how to edit better. It takes time. Opportunities can also take time because people need to know you in order for them to offer you an opportunity. Relationships and trust, both professionally and personal, take time. Which leads me to number 9. In order to be a good creative, a good filmmaker, a good videographer, you need experience. This is another one that I hated when I was younger. I hated when someone older told me like, oh, you need experience. Because it's true that you could be good being young. There's a lot of young people doing a better job than the older ones. But it doesn't matter if you're good or bad to begin with. Experience will make you better. If you're good, experience will make you great. If you're bad, experience is gonna make you good. But also experience makes you create better things. I found that the most interesting filmmakers are people who have tried different things and learned from different paths of life, and then they bring that into their films. It's more to say that life experiences outside of filmmaking will build your creative practice. So yeah, in order to be a great creative, you need different kinds of experiences. Which leads me into number 10, which is it's okay to explore in order to find your path. This is more for someone like me, who likes several things and never knows what to pursue. At many points during my 20s, I made myself feel bad for exploring because other people that were decisive were moving along quicker than I was. But to be honest, I've learned a lot during my path. A lot about myself, a lot about life, a lot about other people. And even though it took long, I'm actually quite sure of what I'm doing now. Which I think if I pushed myself to just fit into one box since the beginning, I would be always doubting. Again, everybody's different, so this worked for me, but I'm really happy that I took my time to explore different things and different career paths and different opportunities in order to get to where I am. I feel like it has given me a broader perspective of life, and it makes it easier to understand other aspects of filmmaking as well. And then let's move into lesson number 11. It's okay to change path at one point. I've met a couple of people that were sure since they were like 15 or 16 that they wanted to do this in filmmaking, that they wanted to be DPs or directors or writers. And then along the way they discover like, oh, I actually don't like this that much. But because they put so much effort into that one specific area, they don't want to let it go. But as I said earlier, sometimes it's good to quit stuff. It's okay to switch lanes if at one point it doesn't feel as fulfilling or motivating for you. So like, I'm not saying drop everything and change your career completely. But if you're interested in something else, it's okay to take steps towards moving in that direction. And then I want to go into some lessons that are more filmmaking specific. So number 12 is you'll learn as you go. I know that when I was younger, people used to offer me jobs and I didn't feel completely ready, so I turned some of them down. But later on, I started doing jobs even if I wasn't feeling completely ready. And I realized that most people just starting out are learning on the job. You'll learn a lot the more experience you have. The more experience you have on set, the more experience you have working with clients, with directors, with DPs. Each job will teach you something new. So it's okay to not know everything since the beginning, as long as you're putting in enough work to deliver something good. This leads me to number 13, which is a great business lesson I learned from an old boss I had at a production company. And that is under-promise and over-deliver. So when I was talking about getting into jobs that you might not be 100% ready for, I didn't mean to go into a job promising to do something you cannot do. I will under-promise. I will promise a little bit lower of what I know I can achieve so that I'm sure that I'll get it. But then during the process, during the project, I'll give it my 120%. And if I can over-deliver, I will over-deliver. I will give something better than what I promised. Let's move into number 14, which is something I realized recently. And that is that soft skills are sometimes more useful than hard skills. Hard skills are more the technical abilities that you need for a job. So if you're editing something, it's like the skill level you have on the editing program. And soft skills are more the things that are not measurable. This is like, how good are you at communicating your ideas? How good are you at taking criticism? How well you react under pressure? I think that most of the opportunities I've gotten in life, it's thanks to soft skills. It's not because I have technical knowledge, but because these people like working with me. They know they can trust me, they know I will listen, and they know I'll have ideas to give as well. If they like working with you and you work well together, they're gonna call you even if you don't have the exact precise skills they need. Then lesson number 15 is something I also learned recently, which is to take time to create things for yourself. First of all, you hone your craft and you develop certain skills. I've learned a lot by filming and editing these YouTube videos, for example. But also sometimes people see what you do on your own and they like it and they propose an opportunity based on that. Again, back in my early 20s, I did some Instagram videos for myself. They were not great, they were not perfect, I just needed to create something on my own. And thanks to that, I actually got offered a job at a production company. So you never know, sometimes these small little projects can create a snowball effect that will lead into bigger opportunities. And this actually leads me perfectly into lesson number 16, which is value the opportunities you have. It doesn't matter how small they are, I think it's important to value them. Every single opportunity has something good you can focus on. But I've worked with people that always find a reason to complain about the project that they're doing. If they're doing something creative but not well paid, they'll complain that it's not well paid. If they're doing a corporate gig that's well paid but not creative, they'll complain that it's not creative. And I think this is a fast way to get into a burnout and hate what you're doing. At least I think you can focus on the fact that you're working in a creative field and that you're honing your skills. Sometimes it's important to put things into perspective and value the good side of every experience we're getting. And then I want to talk about the lesson number 15. And it's that you are not just your profession. During most of my 20s, I focused so much on just my profession, on finding my path, on doing the right things for filmmaking, on being more successful. But to be honest, when I put it into perspective, a lot of these things are irrelevant. I've realized with time that it's more important the relationships I have, the people around, my friends, my family. It's also important to take care of your health, your physical health, your mental health. I feel like at the end of the day, this is way more important for our quality of life than how successful we are as filmmakers. And actually, that is one of my regrets. I kind of wish I spent a little bit more time focusing on other things instead of stressing out about this career. But again, the only way to learn that is to go through it. So there's no way I could have learned that without actually making the mistake. Then lesson number 18 is to keep going. Like I said, experience is important and things take time. So keep going, keep going, keep going. If this is what you like, keep going. And if you're not sure if it's what you like, keep going until you find what you like. But since I said things take time, I would say keep going, but slowly. That way you don't have to stop. What has happened to me at least is when I push too hard, too fast, too soon, I end up getting super tired and I end up abandoning the project or the thing that I was pushing for. If you push slowly, yeah, things are gonna take more time, but I think it's also more sustainable in the long term and you'll probably be able to do it for longer. This also leads me into number 19. It's okay to feel bad during this process. A lot of time during this journey, I felt bad and I felt insecure about what I was doing. I was doubting my decisions. I didn't know if what I was doing was the right thing to do. And I remember during that time, I made myself feel bad for feeling bad. But now I realized that it was okay to feel that way. That was actually a way that I was growing and realizing what steps to take next. I think I would have changed how long I felt bad for, but I wouldn't change feeling bad. These bad feelings are part of the journey, I would say, and it's important to have tools to get out of these bad feelings and to have a support system that gets us out of these bad feelings. But I do think these bad feelings sometimes leads us into something better, leads us to realize that we need to take decisions and we need to move along. At the end of the day, I think life is about finding your own path and finding what works for you specifically. And then number 19, I think is gonna be controversial and it's probably gonna get me some hate, but I think success is overrated. Like I said, as life goes by, I kind of start valuing more the people around me and the quality of time I spend with them. And I think sometimes focusing on success can be detrimental to other aspects of our life. It's important to want to do well in life and to want to have a stable job, and whatever your goals are, that is okay. I do think it's also okay to feel successful internally. Success is going to look different for every single one of you out there. And that's why I think the conventional idea of success and all the obsession that the media seems to have about success is overrated. At the end, success can be small and can be as fulfilling. So yeah, these were my 20 lessons that I learned during my 20s. And it helped me realize that I've actually grown in this past 10 years. I guess it's gonna be a long video because I've been speaking for a long time, but I hope that some of it is of value to you guys. Thanks for the 148 subscribers. I'm really enjoying making these videos. I'm really enjoying making YouTube content. I actually thought I was gonna start this YouTube channel way earlier, like 3 years ago. I actually made a video for myself like when I was 27. If everything went right, you should be watching this on your 30th birthday, which is exactly 3 years from now. Happy birthday, man. If I could, I would hug you. And I said that I wanted to get 1,000 subscribers by this time, and if not, I had failed YouTube. I hope that you have a successful YouTube channel with at least, 1,000 subscribers, because if in 3 years you didn't manage to get 1,000, yeah, I think maybe it's time to call it, because 30 is kind of you're getting kind of old, man. But the thing is that I didn't start YouTube until like last year, 29, so I guess it's fine. I'm gonna continue. But yeah, this has been a project that I've been wanting to do for a long time. And now, as I said, it finally feels right. And it's nice to know that some people out there enjoy it as well. So thank you so much. Thanks for the support and the views and the nice comments. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Thank you once again for watching and see you next time.